During sleep, the human body is in an anabolic state, helping to restore the immune, nervous, skeletal, and muscular systems. These are all vital processes that maintain mood, memory, and cognitive function, and play a large role in the function of the endocrine and immune systems. Sleep is a highly conserved behavior across animal evolution. In one of my previous episodes, I talked about the impact of sleeping disorders, aka insomnia. Insomnia is a global health problem, causing many detrimental effects. Now, it is time to dig a little deeper into the mysterious world of sleep. Are you ready? Let's go! As this image illustrates, sleep follows a cyclical pattern called the sleep-wake cycle. This sleep-wake cycle in organisms is often called circadian rhythm. Furthermore, this image beautifully demonstrates the wide array of hormones and neurotransmitters involved. Sleep is an extremely complex process with all kinds of biochemical processes. It is important to understand this process for seeking ways of improving sleep. More on that later. First, let's zoom in on melatonin, one of the hormones most associated with sleep. As you can see in this image, melatonin follows a cyclical pattern aligned with our circadian rhythm. When the sun goes down, our melatonin levels increase, preparing the body for sleep. On the other hand, when daylight hits our eyes, melatonin levels decrease. As I talked about earlier, melatonin is just one of many other hormones. The other one shown here is serotonin. Just as important as melatonin, serotonin acts like the antagonist of melatonin. In simple terms, melatonin is high during the night, serotonin is high during the day. Now, you may be thinking, why would I need serotonin for sleep? Well, serotonin needs to be present during the day so it can later be converted into melatonin when darkness falls. Without serotonin, there is no melatonin. These two chemicals cannot exist without each other. It's like the sun and the moon. Almost like poetry, isn't it? Let's introduce another hormone, cortisol. I told you, sleep is more than just melatonin. Cortisol is known for the so-called stress hormone. As you can see, cortisol levels are strongly connected to our circadian rhythm as well. Typically, cortisol is peaking in the early morning when the sun rises. Cortisol is like the main driver of wakefulness, preparing our body for the rest of the day and slowly decreasing when the day passes, reaching a bottom in the night just before bedtime. Notice how those cortisol levels are inversely correlated with our melatonin levels. Just like serotonin, cortisol spikes when melatonin is low and vice versa. Time to introduce yet another player, adenosine. I warned you, sleep is a very complex process with a lot of biochemicals involved. It gets even more interesting later on. Don't worry, let's cover each part slowly. Again, as you can see in this graph, adenosine levels are linked to our sleep-wake cycle. Each hormone follows a cyclical pattern that fits perfectly within our circadian rhythm. Adenosine is slowly accumulating as the day passes. It is the hormone associated with sleep pressure. The longer we stay awake, the higher adenosine gets and thus increasing our urge to sleep. When we can finally lay down and sleep, adenosine is quickly released from the body. Here is yet another graph showing how adenosine is strongly reduced during sleep. When we wake up in the morning, adenosine is bottoming out, signaling our body there is no urge left to sleep. Time to rise and shine. The cycle repeats and the day advances, so adenosine can build up again. The cycle continues like this. rinse and repeat. Are you still following along? Let's combine some of these hormones into one graph so you can better see what's going on. In the top part of the image, you can see how sleep urge is building up due to adenosine increasing. This is the blue line. The sleep urge can temporarily be reduced by taking a power nap during the day, aka siesta. Notice how the sleep urge can fluctuate during the day and can temporarily decline when taking a power nap. That's why it's important to keep these power naps very short, like 20 minutes maximum. When power naps during the day are too long, you will lose the accumulation of adenosine when nighttime hits, keeping you awake during the night, shown in green. Sleep pressure is just not high enough during the night, causing insomnia. This image perfectly shows the two-process model of sleep. The blue line, process S, illustrates drive to sleep. The red line, process C, illustrates all other hormones involved with staying awake. All these hormones need to be in perfect balance for a steady sleep-wake cycle. Sleep is most optimal when the gap between sleep drive and wake drive is the largest, shown here in purple. It simply means the substances associated with sleepiness, like adenosine and melatonin, are high, while other biochemicals associated with wakefulness, like cortisol and serotonin, are low. Everything is interconnected, meaning small balances or small imbalances in each of these other hormones can influence the quality of our sleep. You think the party is crowded already? Oh, but wait, there is more. Yes, time to introduce more hormones. Say hello to our sex hormones estrogen and progesterone. Males are simple. They have a daily fluctuation of testosterone. Females, however, show a monthly ebb and flow of sex hormones that influence sleep as well. Have you always wondered why your sleep is different around your menstruation? Well, that's because of different levels of estrogen and progesterone. To make things worse, females seem to be double cursed when the menopause arrives around 50 years of age. After the age of 50, female sex hormones are rapidly declining. It is especially during this fast decline that sleep is disturbed. Notice how melatonin levels also are at a low around the age of 50. Melatonin was the star player in sleep regulation until physicians found out about the overwhelming amount of sleep disorders in menopausal women. Apparently, sleep is more than just melatonin. The influence of sex hormones, especially estrogen, is not to be underestimated. Luckily, it is not only doom and gloom. Other sex hormones play an important role in sleep regulation as well. We have to talk about orgasms to show you what I mean. And here we go again. Time to introduce yet another two hormones to the party, dopamine and prolactin. The party is really getting crowded now, isn't it? Okay. This simple graph illustrates how dopamine levels build up during sexual activity and are quickly released after orgasm. On the other hand, prolactin levels quickly rise just after orgasm. Now, prolactin is what matters here, since it increases the sleep drives in males. Remember how guys quickly fall asleep after sex? This is the reason. Don't blame it on him, blame it on the prolactin. More interestingly, the strong rise in prolactin after orgasm doesn't affect females as much as males. Females seem to be resistant to the sleep-inducing effects of prolactin. Such a bummer. So, should all women just refrain from having sex? Not at all. The strong release of endorphins after sex will relax the mind, both in males and females. And a relaxed mind sets the stage for a relaxed body and thus sleep. Oh god, even more hormones are attending the sleepover party. Well, this illustration is useful in categorizing some other neurotransmitters associated in the sleep-wake cycle. Take hypocretin, for example. Hypocretin plays a crucial role in stimulating our state of wakefulness. Some people suffer from narcolepsy, a sudden urge to fall asleep during the day. It seems completely absurd when you think about it. Well, the neurotransmitter hypocretin is responsible for this. Narcolepsy patients have a deficiency in hypocretin. Without sufficient hypocretin, all other neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin decline. This sudden decline causes the patient to lose the state of wakefulness and thus falling asleep suddenly. This also shows the close relationship of mood and sleep disorders. It is a well-known fact that patients suffering from a depression also experience distorted sleep. Both the substances dopamine and serotonin are responsible for this sleep disturbance in depressed patients. Likewise, stressful events cause a sudden spike in norepinephrine, affecting our sleep yet again. Indeed, state of mind is just as important as state of body. Both mind and body are strongly linked to the great regulator called our circadian rhythm. Okay, that was a lot. Next time you're in a conversation with someone about melatonin, just shout any other random hormone. Most likely it is connected to your circadian rhythm as well. After understanding the complexity of this all, try to think of a hormone that isn't connected to sleep. I challenge you. If you enjoyed this episode, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. I hope to see you again in my new episode. Until then, I'm out. And I think it's time for you to orgasm and fall asleep. Applicable for males only. To a lesser extent, women. And I thought men and women were equal. Let's not go there.